In astrology, the moon is connected to your private self, your emotions and feelings, and your moon sign can describe where you store stress and emotional frustration. In this video, I will talk about which body parts you need to be most careful with based on your moon sign. My name is Anastasia. I'm a traditional Western astrologer specializing in natal, relationship, and predictive readings. If you enjoy my work, please take a few seconds to show your support by leaving me a like, a comment, subscribing, and pressing the notification bell. Watch another one of my videos or say thank you by buying me a tea or a coffee. I really appreciate that. Thank you for being here. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you'll have a great time watching my content. Before we dive in, if you're looking for personal guidance, you want to know more about your chart, you have questions that are burning and only can be answered by an astrologer, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. There is a variety of options and a couple of durations, something that can fit your preference. Additionally, on my website, you can find a variety of products I create. For example, my 2025 astrology planner full of insights, guides, helpful tools to maximize your year to come, set your intentions, journal, understand the moon phases and signs. I even included helpful dates that are good for love and lucky dates good for business and your life in general. On there, you can also find my candles and oils. Highly recommend my moon in Cancer. To a candle, it captures the moon in rulership in the sign of Cancer, powerful for manifestation, powerful for setting intentions, and it can help ease your mood, improve your sleep, improve fertility, and emotional well-being. Similar energy with the almond moon. This one is decorated with moonstone and it smells like almond macaron, and similar influence because it's the same moon. It captures that powerful, soothing, nurturing energy. So in this video, we're talking about the moon as an indicator of your body part or parts where you may store stress, right? So we have to be extra aware. For example, I'm a Gemini moon and I've always been, my shoulders have long been the most tense body part of mine. Like, you know, whenever I'm stressed, I just do this. I always do this to protect myself. I know a lot of us do it, but I think if you have like a Gemini moon, that's probably an absolute common thing. And, you know, in general, the moon in astrology is connected to your vulnerable self. The moon is visible at night, and we are more vulnerable at night because we don't have as much visibility. The moon is connected to your early life, to your mother, to nurturance, whether you received enough nurturance or not enough, right? Like that impacts you, that impacts every single part of your life. And so the moon deals with your emotional self, with kind of your more hidden self, the part of you that only people you're close to get to see. It is you when you're cold, it is you when you're sick, it is you when you're hungry. How do you act in those kind of situations? And so depending on the sign of your moon, you can tell where you will keep sort of emotional frustration more likely. And if you don't know the sign of your moon, you can find a link down below that can help you figure out your chart. You need to know the date, time, and place of birth in order to be able to figure it out. A lot of times, even if you don't have the exact time, you can still find out your moon sign because the moon takes 2.5 days to move through a zodiac sign. So you will have a full day. You know, oftentimes the moon stays in a sign for a whole day. So let's talk about the zodiac signs of the moon and how it might affect your, how it might affect your emotional state. So before we dive in, if you're looking to understand your chart and figure out what your moon sign is, what it means, what aspects it makes, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Nothing better than to talk to me about your chart. So if you were born with the moon in Aries, you're likely to store a lot of stress in your head. So you're more likely to get headaches and maybe, feeling sort of like moon in Aries people tend to be very energetic and very enthusiastic. but they get burned out just as fast. Sometimes there is this like excitement and enthusiasm, but then if you push yourself too hard, you end up feeling drained and nervous and anxious and maybe headachy, right? So you may suffer from like migraines or just sort of deal with overall like fatigue and like sort of brain confusion when you're going through stressful time. The best medicine for you is movement and going on hikes and spending some time alone, sometimes listening to loud music and maybe dancing or even like angry cleaning and exercise can be like a good sort of release, anything that gets your blood pumping. Of course, if you're dealing with a migraine, you got to be careful and maybe sometimes take medicine for it. Do not, force things. If you are born with the moon in Taurus, Taurus rules the neck. And so for Taurus, when you feel frustrated, you might get like a lot of tightness in your neck, and it can radiate, right? Sometimes it can radiate in your shoulders as well, where you start to feel stagnancy in your shoulders and maybe like tightness here. And sometimes it can radiate where like throat, ears, nose, and throat are connected, right? ENT doctors will tell you all about it. But like, so if it starts in your throat, it can sort of, I shouldn't show on myself. In Russia, we believe that you're not supposed to do it. But basically like in your throat, and maybe it like lifts up and can show up as like maybe some like jaw issues, like grinding your teeth potentially. And that can also actually be a thing for Aries moons a little bit too. But like throat pain, throat tightness, nose issues, sort of like jaw issues are possible too. And maybe, if you're stressed, it can like actually lead to like getting a sinus infection or getting like a throat sort of, I'm running out of, I don't know the names, but like throat inflammation, just catching a cold, anything like that. And the best way of working through it, I think, for Taurus is like singing, right? Because that can help move your neck, and that can help like on some level actually even strengthen the inside of the neck and the muscles of your neck. And yeah, like, doing sort of like usual neck exercises, making sure you like roll your neck and pamper yourself, treat yourself. That's always a very Taurian mode of like living and enjoying life. If you're looking for personal guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. For moon in Gemini, Gemini is the sign of the twins, and it's the sign that is connected to shoulders and hands, right? Because it like represents the part of the body where we start to split up. So if you're born with a moon in Gemini, you're more likely to store a lot of tension in your shoulders. And you got to be really careful with this when you're working out. Let's say that you're not kind of like clenching, and you're not like, you may need to specifically force yourself in order to like unclench your shoulders. And sometimes a great exercise could be, sort of pulling everything up and tightening everything and then releasing. I think that could be lovely. Your hands as well, like if you're stressed, you might be, it might be like a typical kind of, what is the one where we are getting some pain in a carpal tunnel? Yeah, like carpal tunnel, because Gemini moon might type a lot and might spend a lot of time on the phone. So you may notice problems there. Overthinking is a big issue with having a Gemini moon. So like a lot of, issues that can come out of overthinking. Sometimes you can also have a headache or lead yourself to have a headache. And like Gemini is also sometimes connected to like the lungs, because we have like two sides to the lungs. So breathing issues, especially if you haven't said something, it can like also clench up your throat and like maybe create like tightness in the chest. So the remedy is always, of course, talking or putting your thoughts on a piece of paper, expressing them to a therapist, and getting out of your head sometimes. So like exercising, moving your body, going sort of barefoot, touching your hands to the ground, feet to the ground, can be awesome. I'm just gonna stop my heater because it's heating my legs way too hard. It's working extra hard. If you're looking for personal guidance and you're born with a moon in Gemini, get a reading from your moon in Gemini that will happily give you guidance. If you were born with a moon in Cancer, so Cancer rules breast and chest area, and so sometimes you may notice that, there is like sort of tightness in the chest if you're frustrated, maybe even like a little bit of like discomfort or pain. And since Cancer is a very emotionally aware sign, I think for you, a lot of kind of pain or stress or symptoms can be connected to your feelings. So over there, you have to be like kind of more specific and see whether it is connected to you not speaking. So maybe the remedy is to speak, right? Or it's connected to you not taking good care of yourself. So then maybe you need to cozy up with your favorite book and a cup of tea. Because you are a very nurturing and generous and loving sign, and you give a lot of yourself to other people, and you want to make sure that you do the same for yourself and that you take care of yourself as much as you do of other people. But yeah, pay special attention, maybe like try to work on like chest opening exercises, strengthen your chest at the gym, lift some weights, work on it too. And don't forget the emotional aspect of taking care of yourself. If you're looking for personal guidance, book a reading at Anastasia.com. Now for those born with the moon in Leo. If you're born with the moon in Leo, Leo rules the heart. And so you really need to be kind of careful with any kind of like cardiovascular issues. Don't get worried, but I think sometimes like if your moon is in Leo and you get stressed, you might sort of feel like your heart like maybe beat faster or like clench up. So your emotions might be very much sort of show up in the heart. And sometimes that also shows up like in the back, right? In the back of your body, and like kind of tension in the back of the body, maybe like everything that's kind of connected to the heart, like maybe sometimes arms as well, or your hands too. I think for Leo moons, the best way to alleviate some of that stress and some of the emotional tension is by doing kind of creative things. And there's also ways to strengthen your heart, right? Like doing cardio, for example, and other methods that can be helpful for like strengthening your cardiac system in general. Eating healthy, right? Make sure you're not like overindulging and abusing sort of unhealthy foods, and very much like allowing your inner child be expressed, allowing yourself to have fun, create, connect with people, laugh, play, act, all of that kind of stuff could be a beautiful remedy. If you have more questions, book a reading at Anastasia.com. I'd be happy to analyze your chart, talk about your relationship, or dive into your year coming up. If you were born with the moon in Virgo, Virgo rules the digestion. Virgo rules stomach, sort of your like abs area, and the digestive tract. So if you're born with Virgo moon, you're more likely to experience indigestion if you're stressed, right? I have 3 planets in Virgo, not my moon, but it's so familiar to me. Like as a kid, it's the first day of school and you're excited, but your belly is hurting. So I think here with like having moon in Virgo, you really need to pay like special attention to your digestion. Depending on the placement of your Mercury, you might have like a perfectly sort of running like clockwork digestion. But being aware, right, like not eating foods that you're maybe allergic to or like intolerant to, and kind of eating healthy, not eating too late, not eating too sort of heavy, and paying attention like to your mind just as much you do to your body, because you are Mercury ruled, your moon is Mercury ruled, and so negative thoughts, anxiety, overthinking can all lead your body sort of shut down and freak out. So treat yourself. I highly recommend like going into nature, getting sort of cleaning, organizing your space, perfecting your skills, doing things with your hands that make you happy, all of that can be great for you. If you're looking for personal guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I'd be happy to answer any questions you have and help you understand yourself better. If you were born with the moon in Libra, Libra is the sign that rules kidneys, liver, lower back, and like endocrinal gland too. So you may experience, like sometimes it's like endocrinal, like hormonal imbalances if you're feeling frustrated, or problems with kidneys maybe. And a lot of it is like closely connected to sometimes for you, I think it's about relationship issues. If you're feeling sort of unhappy in a relationship, or even if you're getting like symptoms of feeling like pain in your back, right? Lower back, or pain in your like buttocks. It's not always going to be like, do not worry about like hormonal imbalances or kidney issues, but like it could be connected to like stress and tightness in this sort of area, the abdominal, low abdomen, lower back area. And feeling, Libra being an air sign, sort of overthinking as well could be a problem, feeling anxious about relationships, feeling like if things are unhappy with you and your significant other, or with any relationships, you may feel kind of more anxiety. So surround yourself with people that you trust and people that support you and people that are lovely, because Libra is that sign. Moon in Libra is a sign that like the type of people they kind of want to be alone but together. So if you are next to people that make you feel happy, that will actually be quite a good way of dealing with frustration. If you were born with the moon in Scorpio, Scorpio rules urinary tract and reproductive system. So here you might be more prone to UTIs or yeast infections or some kind of like bacterial infections if you are feeling frustrated. And the same with like reproductive organs, sometimes maybe like having, endometriosis or like fibroids, which is a more dramatic, more like sort of challenging things. But I think, knowing about like urinary tract kind of issues, and maybe like if you're stressed, you're going to pee more often, or you don't pee at all, and then it causes a UTI. And I think, Moon in Scorpio is such like a passionate placement. Sex is really important for you. So if we're talking about where you might more likely experience frustration, maybe it's connected to that. And like if you're not having enough sex, maybe you're feeling frustrated too. But yeah, be aware. And like I can also see in some other situations, like sort of maybe this radiating into like a back or digestion issues if you're feeling too frustrated. And since Scorpio is an emotional sign, you want to be extra aware like who you let close to you, and because your feelings, your sort of pins and needles and different emotions, different like sort of body senses can be reflective of your emotional sense, right? Like if you're close to someone who doesn't have your best intention at heart, maybe that's also creating sort of physical sensations. So you want to be aware. And if you're looking for personal guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you were born with the moon in Sagittarius, Sagittarius rules hips, thighs, legs, and the groin. So you might notice when you're stressed that your hips are tight and your legs are tight maybe, right? And you're storing your frustration in your quads or in your hips, and that can also lead to maybe like poor circulation there. And so you need to do more stretching, more yoga, more sort of hip opening exercises. And of course, Sagittarius is the adventurous sign, so going for walks, running, moving your body, warming up through sort of cardio can be exciting. Do it alone or do it with someone you trust. It is up to you. And if you're looking for more guidance, you have other questions, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. If you were born with a moon in Capricorn, Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So Saturn rules knees, bones, skin. It rules sort of these like heart structures and also borderline structures, because Saturn is the last visible planet, right? So skin is very much connected to Capricorn, so you may notice like eczema or some kind of, like your skin gets hot and red if you're frustrated. If you're like stressed and overwhelmed, you may notice it on skin. You may notice your teeth, issues with teeth if you're too stressed, like you're grinding them, or you're dealing with needing fillings, dealing with some other problems connected with teeth. If you're like really, really stressed, your body might get tight and it might be easier to break a bone, which is of course more like extreme. But having like a knee injury, having an ankle injury, maybe like an ACL tear in the knee. So you gotta be, Capricorn, Saturn is very structural. So you gotta be careful that when you're stressed, you're not like pushing yourself extra hard and resulting in your body just breaking from the heaviness of it all. And Moon in Capricorn is the moon in its detriment, so I would highly recommend my Moon in Cancer candle for you guys, because this is the opposite energy, very relaxing, very soothing, very kind of prioritizing emotional well-being, knowing that you got to have a good balance in your life, but surrounding yourself with people that are nurturing and setting time in your schedule where you take care of yourself and not pushing emotions aside and asking for help. All of those are important lessons for the Moon in Capricorn. If you're looking for more guidance, you have questions that only a consultation with the professional astrologer will answer, book a reading on my website, anastasiadoesastrology.com. So moving on to the Moon in Aquarius. Aquarius rules calves and ankles, and it also is connected with like shins and the nerves sometimes. So with the Moon in Aquarius, you may have issues with like calves, like an Achilles tendon or something hurting. Or what is the one where you have like a bone sticking in the back of your foot? If you know, please let me know. I feel like I knew it, but it escaped now. So, like kind of, like ankle issues, maybe hurting your ankle, stabbing your ankle. I guess that's more for a toe, but you may notice like if you're feeling frustrated, stagnant, your like shins get tight or your ankles get tight. And a lot of like, Aquarius is an air sign. So every time we're talking about air signs, we're talking about like headaches that come from thinking too much and overthinking, and also like maybe dealing with nervous anxiety and stress and tension. And so I would recommend that you like watch your favorite documentary, go to a museum, try to get out of your head by doing things that put you into your body. And, maybe like asking for help or sharing your feelings with other people, because you're really good on your own and you don't shy away from spending time alone. But sometimes finding a person who's like-minded and expressing your thoughts and feeling understood can actually be the best remedy. If you're looking for more guidance, you have other questions, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. Finally, if you were born with the Moon in Pisces, Pisces rules feet. It also rules the lymphatic system, and sometimes it can be connected to hands as well. But feet are for sure Pisces, so stubbing toes, hurting feet, dealing with like tendon issues, swollen feet if you're like maybe stressed or frustrated. So you want to take really good care of your feet, get pedicures, get massages, get like cream that is specific to your feet, something to, like rub on your feet. Let yourself process emotions by crying, going to water, like taking hot showers in order to like express some of the feelings that you're feeling. Avoid sort of like numbing the pain by drinking or doing drugs or anything that sort of numbs it but doesn't really cure it. You can really benefit from creativity. I think Pisces moons can be very talented, and so painting, singing, dancing could be a great way to release tension. And of course, you're very emotionally driven, right? So taking care of yourself, surrounding yourself with Cancers and Scorpios, people who understand you, and making sure that you're like caring for yourself and getting yourself not just like physical tools that can take care of you, but also like get yourself crystals, get yourself a candle, moon in Cancer, a very helpful, beautiful, because it trines your natal moon. Sage tarot cards, you know, make sure that you're taking care of your emotions and not just taking care of your body. I hope this resonates. Please let me know what you think, and if you're looking for more guidance, book a reading at anastasiadoesastrology.com. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have other ideas for content that might be fun to watch, let me know and I will get right on it. We're coming to the end of the year at this point, and so I'm probably going to be making a lot of content about 2025, but I like these sort of more general astrology videos. Anyways, thank you for being here. I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.